Hey, what's going on, guys? It's manga here on behalf of MMOBomb.com, and welcome to our first impressions of Yulgang 2. Now, Yulgang 2 is a fantasy martial arts MMORPG that utilizes action-based combat, and it's being developed by KRGsoft, a Korean-based developer. Now, it's being published by Cubazone in SEA regions, Southeastern Asian regions, and although it's being published in those specific regions, it is also non-IP blocked, so anybody in Europe or North America can access the game without, problem or issue, although, different people in different areas may experience lag or delay. I have yet, so I decided to go ahead and jump in and show you guys what the MMO is about, whether or not you guys should try it. So, for those of you unfamiliar with Yulgang, you may be thinking, well, what was Yulgang 1? I don't remember an MMO called Yulgang 1. In fact, Yulgang, the original, came out in the early 2000s, and it was primarily really popular in the East, of course, but it did make its way to the West under the name of Scions of Fate. But it was a anime style MMO, so the graphics weren't as realistic looking, of course, as Yulgang 2 on purpose. It had sort of a more cutesy, cartoony look to it. And of course, the combat wasn't action-based, it was tab target. That being said, both Yulgang 2 and Yulgang 1 followed the same storyline. Yulgang 2 is about 20 to 30 years, rather, in the future, and both of them are based on a manga series that was written in Korean back in 1995-ish or so. That's when it came out. So you do have some similarities there if you ever did play the original, in case you were wondering about that. Now, there are two different factions for you to choose from, the Order and the Chaos, and besides sort of lore reasons, the two factions are basically identical. They have the access to the same classes, the same abilities, and there's really no difference between the two other than slight cosmetic differences. So if we go here, for example, and choose the Chaos, you'll notice that I can choose, of course, between female and male, so there's no gender, class, restrictions, none of that, which is also nice to see. But unfortunately, you only get 4 really sort of generic classes to choose from. You have the Warrior, the Archer, the Healer, and the Mage. Now, some of these classes, for example, the Mage, do have unique combat mechanics, which do play a part in how they play. This is a combo sort of oriented MMORPG, so you can chain abilities together, and in fact, it encourages you to do so, to sort of like keep sort of juggling enemies in the air and what have you. And there are some mechanics that sort of complement that. But otherwise, you're going to look at the sort of standard classes you would see in any other MMORPG. And in fact, there doesn't seem to be any sort of branching class mechanics either, so I wouldn't be able to change this mage, for example, into maybe something like a wizard or a sorcerer. It just pretty much stays a mage. That being said, because this is published in SEA regions, typically the localization efforts, and English-wise, are pretty poor, so you'll see a lot of broken quest text, or just really generic descriptions for items or classes in this case. So it wouldn't read into that too much. That's just sort of a byproduct of this being the first English localized version of Yulgang 2. If it ever makes it to a more Western publisher and is published officially in the West, it no doubt would have much better localization. Alright, so here is sort of the customization options for the class itself. You can change quite a lot on it. You can change the body size, the body shape for individual areas like arms, skin color, which one thing I should point out about the skin color is it says you can change it to like crazy colors here using the color sort of slider, but unfortunately I have been unable to make a green or purple or basically any other skin toned character here. I'm not really sure how this is supposed to work. I see this separate slider here, but I can't really seem to get the color I'm after, unfortunately. Dark colors don't seem to be an option. You can just sort of go with these skin tones, essentially. Now, one thing I should mention is the fact that while it's nice to see all these different, hairstyles, hair colors, facial features, body features, etc., the models themselves aren't that well done. They're pretty old looking. I would say at the same level, if not below, games like Ion or maybe C9. So you really don't have that much detail portrayed, even with the body shape and the different options there. You can see that your character is taller or shorter, maybe fatter and skinnier, but some of the more subtle details, like changing things on the character's face, being able to manipulate the nose and mouth, the eyes, which, for example, I can choose eye size. Like on some characters, when you choose eye size to be small, they just shut their eyes. It doesn't actually make the eyes smaller. So little things like that really are lost on character models that aren't this detailed. Now, if we go down here, you can of course choose your name before creating a character, but I've already done so, given the fact that games like this usually have pretty lengthy tutorials that are pretty much the same throughout. So as you can see here, we already have my mage, which is level 11, given the fact that the tutorial leveled me up to level 10 before I even got into the main game world. So that kind of gives you an idea of, at least early on, the rate at which you gain experience. Alright, so why don't we go ahead then and jump right into the game. Alright guys, so we're now in the game here, and the first thing you may notice is the fact that the UI down below is quite large. That's one of the first things I noticed. The UI takes up pretty much like a fifth of the screen, and currently there's no real option to actually minimize that or make that smaller. That being said, you're able to see, of course, your health here on the bottom left, as well as your mana, or your astral body is what it says on the bottom right. The text to actually see the HP amounts is kind of like the same color of the actual HP itself, so it makes it pretty hard to see, and generally speaking you just kind of see the balls and how much they go up and they go down to sort of get a sense of how much damage you're taking, how much health you have left, obviously. Now I just recently took a quest from, oh man, Wang Bo Bang Yeon. Jeez, that's a hard name to pronounce. Given the fact that this is localized, and the first English localization version of Yulgang 2, it's not hard to see why some of the names and stuff remained how they are. Being that it's SEA, this is the SEA release of the English version. Typically, you know, Southeastern Asian areas still have names like that. Those are more traditional names that you would find. But in the West, if you were to see this MMO ever get published by someone in the West, they most likely would change some of those names to make them a little bit more easily pronounced, because we don't see those at all here in the West at all. Now, because this MMO is based in the Southeastern Asian regions, you would think, holy crap, this guy is like level 20. I should not be fighting this person. I don't know why I was fighting. I thought I could get up to where I needed to go from there. But let's go ahead and go this way. My health is apparently super low, and I was just saying how that the game didn't have a lot of lag, and either I wasn't paying attention or I suddenly took a ton of damage. Now I do have an ability here that can sort of meditate to regain my health pretty quickly here. There's no sort of like items that you have to eat in game in order to regain your health. That being said, you do have items you can eat that will boost your attributes, and in fact it teaches you early on in game that you can get things like meat and different things from gathering around the area to craft new consumables to sort of boost those areas. There's a lot of crafting in the game, and there's things like gem crafting, as well as cooking and mining, refining, making your own weapons, etc. So there is quite a lot of different customization options in terms of your crafting choices. Wow, that's a pretty awesome jump there. Now this is a prime example of the sort of movement system that Yulgang 2 touts a lot. The movement system in here uses basically a stamina bar that, as you can see down there below, and by double tapping W you can start by doing a nice sort of sprint, and then you can hit spacebar to start a long jump, and then you hit double spacebar once the bar goes back up. You're able to sort of fly into the air and glide around in order to take on enemies, which is quite cool to do. Unfortunately, the bar depletes really, really fast, so you only get a few seconds to actually do it. It doesn't deplete when you're gliding, but you glide fairly slow. So if I come up here in the air, you'll notice here, I'm just sort of easily dropping down, and I can hit spacebar here to continue forward in the air as I glide down to the ground here. Now, I don't know if it's because I'm playing the SEA version and it seems to be a little bit buggy, or the fact that my connection isn't stable to the server from such a long distance, but it seems like once I get in air, I also start noticing a lot more of the lag and a little bit of the delay. You can kind of see the jittering when I'm in the air. So we've gone into this area here. You notice that the quest text is updated. I need to ambush the team guard and kill 5 of them. Sometimes the quest text is not very clear at all, and you'll find yourself killing these guards or killing a mob, and then the quest won't actually update, and that's because it won't tell you that you also have to kill a specific special mob unless you actually click on the quest further, and it'll then highlight this specific area you'll have to go. So here's just my basic auto attacks. My auto attacks are on E and Q. They were originally on also left and right mouse button, but some way during the playthrough, the game just decided that I was no longer going to be using the left and right mouse buttons for that, and so I'm unable to do that. Now, I can just kind of keep these chains going forever, really. These monsters have never really proven too difficult for my level, but one thing you may notice is I do get prompts for changing which ability I use, because that will allow me to do special abilities based on if I actually follow the combo correctly. So During this whole time, I've also been getting these little wispy items above my head here. Those are souls, essentially. And what I can do with these souls is if I attack this guy over here, for example, I can hit one of my abilities here, which also have their own combos. And those will actually utilize souls to boost the damage that those abilities do. So souls are actually a pretty big part of the mage style of play, and it's kind of like combining a mage with a rogue in terms of combo points. Now, one thing I'll have to talk about is how you pick up items. In this game, the monsters also respawn incredibly quickly. In this game, there's like 3 separate actual abilities or keys you'll use to pick up items or complete quest text, right? Or complete quest, rather. To pick up a quest item, you'll hit R. To pick up a non-quest item, say something that a mob drops that you want to pick up, you'll hit I, or a tilde key. And to do other things, you'll hit, say, F, and I don't know, every other key under the sun, essentially. I think F, R, and tilde are your main 3 keys, but they're very much just like redundant. They can be all accomplished like in other MMOs by using 1 key. But in this game, it is accomplished using 3 keys, which is quite weird. Alright, so please use corrosive pill to destroy weapon display stand. Why would I need a pill? Clearly, this is not a pill. This is a live bomb that I'm placing here, not a pill. But alright, so we come up here and we can just hit. How do I put this down? Alright, I hit F there, and then I was able to put it down in order to destroy it. I guess, you know, using the combo mechanics. Alright, so I'm getting pretty low. I don't really have a potions. Let's see if I can just get away from this really quickly. I have noticed that you can be in the air and still get hit by anyone who has like a range style ability here. So I've gone ahead and pulled myself over here. And interestingly, when your character is pretty hurt, he actually will hold himself. That's something I've never noticed before. So there is a little bit of those aesthetics in the game, you know, that little extra touch of detail, essentially. Alright, so let's go ahead. Now, you can juggle characters. You can juggle enemies, rather. Let's see if I can get this guy without dying. I'm level 13 as well, but this guy is kicking my butt. Alright, so go ahead and kill him. You can juggle people in the air, and I've done so many times that it'll actually, as you can see in the top right-hand corner, it'll count your combos as well. Alright, so I've gone ahead and destroyed that weapon stand. Now I need to investigate the immortal... I can't. This is Mastermind, apparently. Ambush team leader Sun So-young and ambush team leader Sung So-young. Alright, so you see the little bit of redundancy in the quest text. It's not quite all there in terms of the translation. But if you look in the actual chat box on the bottom left, you'll notice people are playing the game that are English based, so there are English speaking individuals in this game itself. Alright. If I actually hit K here, you'll be able to see these are our abilities, survival abilities. These are sort of like your innates that you can toggle. Things like giving you extra intelligence or extra critical chance. I think another one is a higher amount of armor, for example. So you do get different survival abilities to sort of toggle on yourself or other allies as well. It's not just for you. Beyond that, there is your combat skills, and these upgrade over time as you use them. And they'll get stronger, and then you'll unlock further abilities as you continuously level up. Needs level 10, mage exclusive, needs level. It looks like I need grade 5 to be able to unlock that ability, and then grade 7 to unlock the next one, and so on. I'm assuming there's more and more combos as we continually level up, and these will continue to expand, and I'm also assuming you get different tomes, or these Spectre Exorcism as it's called, that allow you to sort of unlock new abilities, which may or may not be specific for your class. It doesn't really talk about that a lot. The website is pretty vague when it comes to what you're supposed to do, or what sort of other unique mechanics are in the game at higher levels. It sort of just talks about the air as being like the main go-to mechanic, which, to be honest, there's no real, I haven't really found any sort of combat or quests that involve that, like that actually make you use it. Ha! Do you think we will tell you what we do? Not with that attitude, apparently. Just die here. Well, okay, let's do this. All right, so I only have one of my little, you know, wisp or souls things, so I actually have to kill these guys here. But I'm using my air skill right there, which is a ability that you can only use when you're attacking in air, which is nice. All right, so typically you want to try to juggle these guys to just minimize the amount of damage that you're doing here. And you can also double dash to one side and dash to another to evade abilities as well, which you'll need to do, as you can see here. Alright, so See if we can kind of just want to get these guys all grouped up together so you can hit them at the same time. Otherwise, you're going to be dealing with 2 or 3 people hitting you at once, or at different times, and you're not going to be able to juggle them. Which apparently juggling is a pretty big part of this game to keep people from outright destroying you. All right, so I've gone ahead and picked up some more items here. What I need to do, picked up that stuff off that guy, and now I will go ahead and I'm just going to jump off for now. Let's get off out of that area. I'm pretty low. And just sort of like, I guess, run through the air here. Oh, am I in tree? I am in a tree, guys. So yes, it is confirmed in this game you can be in trees. Clearly this makes this an amazing game. But yeah, it'd kind of be cool for PvP purposes to like hang out in trees and then jump down. Because you always see in martial arts games, they come out of the trees, they ambush people. Speaking of PvP, this game does actually have realm versus realm, which is basically chaos versus order PvP. There's also instance-based PvP as well, which is more intimate, say 5v5, 1v1, 2v2. But there is realm versus realm, which is like large-scale PvP from both factions in a persistent zone, I believe. Alright, so we need to come over here and search along the path to eliminate Team Combat Soldier. Don't really know who that is, though. Maybe this is a guy down here. Alright, so let's go ahead and come on this roof. Haha, I'm up here. Are you the team Oh, you're the Team Combat Soldier, are you? Alright, so why don't we just kill you? This person here, I actually have a crossbow, or a bow rather. I can't actually evade that. I wish I was able to get more souls by doing other things instead of just killing people. You notice there's a knight, they lined up nicely, so I was able to hit all 3 of them. Because it seems like, for example, a rogue has combat mechanics that allow them to build combo points outside of their, normal auto attacks or just killing someone. So by killing people, if you're in, like, say, a boss scenario, it doesn't really make much sense. It doesn't really seem like you would get a lot of those soul orbs, which would make it difficult for you to do your utmost damage. All right, so let's see. Can I open this? It's highlighting this. I can kick it. I can't do. It's a tent repair tool apparently. Apparently, I don't need to do anything like that with that. It's just going to highlight it. All right, so going ahead and use W here to run myself a little bit faster over here. I like the fact that I can, jump in the air like a frog, just kind of jump continuously over and over. So now I need to report to Yulgang. Where is Yulgang? He is this way apparently. All right, it would be nice if they sort of like zoomed back on the minimap or did something to sort of indicate the direction that you actually have to head to, because there's no real innate way unless you like bring up your map and then click on it. You'd be like, okay, it's it doesn't even show. Okay, there it is. It is showing up on the map. It just seems like they could do a lot better job indicating which direction. And that isn't necessarily something that requires better quest text, but more just better UI functionality in general here. Now, if I hit Alt, you can see there's other options for me to choose from at the top. There's the options themselves, the menu system, which allows you to see your achievements here, both Guardian, Combat, as well as your titles. Quest information, you'll be able to see where your available quests are, your in-progress quests. A lot of this functionality doesn't seem to be complete at this time. I've noticed that, for example, if I go to the options here, and if you go to graphics options, only basic configuration is available, and there's no real information to talk about like what's cartoon versus what's not cartoon, and there's just a lot of like missing dialogue there, and that may be because the translation is not complete to English. This is the open beta, and it is still a beta, so there's things that can be approved, and it does sound like CubeZone, who is handling the SEA publishing, is trying to do that, but it's still, there are things left to be fixed in the current iteration that aren't just localization. Alright, so we can go ahead and skip over that. So that would probably get annoying after a while, especially given the sense that the game doesn't really seem to add any weight to those conversations other than just to have random cutscenes I would imagine if this game came out in the West and they actually used English voices, it would be a lot more engaging. And I do like the fact that they actually do have, voice acted dialogue, because it does break up the monotony of just reading quest text all the time. But it would be better for them to actually like portray the quest text more in that dialogue than simply just like updating the story with no other references to the quest so much. Alright, so it looks like I have to kill 5 of these foxes here. I don't know why I have to kill baby foxes, but one thing we'll see if we notice here, one thing that really sort of irks me in the sense that the mobs drop these boxes, these loot boxes, is that every mob drops loot boxes. It doesn't matter if it's a wolf or it doesn't matter. Let me look. What baby fox is going to be carrying a box like that and it's going to be carrying armor on it? I mean, come on, guys. Come on. Who carries armor on it? Like a baby fox carrying armor? Alright, so it doesn't look like any of these items currently are better. Oh, that is better, but that requires a level 14, and I am only level 13 here. But it's alright, randomly I will get a level up, and then we'll be able to use it. Now, you do get options to pretty much use any of the gathering, or gather any of the materials in the game from the get-go. You don't have to specifically go and find a particular, well, look how fast I'm running. There's like a dust trail around me. You have to go find a particular, let's see if I can do this. Oh my god! No, I don't know why my camera turned like that. It was awesome, but I almost completely missed a lot of my skill shots there. But it was pretty cool. I don't know why it actually, what was I lost my train of thought. What's going on here? Man, these wolves are just wrecking me, man. These baby wolves. These baby fox. They're foxes. What did the fox say? Fox said, we are strong in groups. My combo martial arts has improved. And apparently I got some further achievements for being a fox killer, a baby fox killer. It's all about that, you know, equalizing nature, you know, like too many of the foxes will kill off the rabbits or something like that, right? Alright, so let's go ahead and move forward here, see if there's anything else of mention. Please gather some medicine, herbs, and Mount Yulgang. Alright. So I can actually click on this here, as you notice, and this will sort of highlight where I'm able to collect them. So I can collect them pretty much anywhere. So it seems like every new zone will have some sort of collection quest, as well as a myriad of sort of kill quests here. I want to get away from these guys, but these guys will follow you for quite some time. Come on. Come on. Still following me. Alright, there we go. So that's pretty far distance. Alright, so I'll be able to collect these medicine herbs. And again, use R to collect that. Whereas if you want to actually collect anything that you pick up, simply use the tilde key. So now I would have to actually kill soft fox fur, or get soft fox fur by killing foxes. Or, yeah, just a particular style of fox. So again, it's just a lot of kill and collect, you know, what you would expect from an MMO like this. You do get some basic backpacks, so I haven't really found the need to expand my backpacks very early on. You notice these are all the objects that I've got. You things like refining tool for like breaking down items you no longer use, to use in crafting, etc. And you know, generally speaking, I think anybody who's going to check this out is either going to be a fan of the manga. Here's an example, I guess, of the warrior class. A little bit of lagging there. But anyone who is going to play this would be a fan of sort of action-based combat. And the combat itself is sort of like, it's a mixture between Blade and Soul and Aeon, I'd have to say, in terms of the graphical fidelity of the combos themselves and the graphics. You know, the actual animations are pretty good, but the quality of the texturing is really leaves a lot to be desired. But that's probably going to go ahead and be my first impressions here of Yulgang 2. If you guys want to learn more about the game or just try it yourself, do check out below at MMOBomb.com for the full game profile, as well as a link to the SCA download page. Again, anyone can play this. It is completely open. There's no IP block or restriction, although your mileage may vary depending on what region you're playing from. But let me know what you guys think of it in below. And until next time, Spunkify out. Later, guys.